Hello, I'm KiSparks and I enjoy games. I stream on Twitch, same name as YouTube. Check the description. So the point of this video is basically making macros to control both the audio and visual output that you get from the game. I personally have issues with visual stimulation as well as too much audio, and having on-the-fly control really helps me enjoy this game, and I hope that it would help others as well. So the first macro that I have here is actually a macro to control sound. And let me go ahead and pull up the macros. So if you see right here, I have these three music notes right here: mute Vox, mute BGM, and mute sound effects. I'll start with BGM here. Right here, I have it titled name mute BGM, and then the first line is /tombstone motion. You can use any emote you want here, but I prefer using tombstone because it looks like I'm looking at my tombstone to change the settings of the sound in the game. It's just a little thing that I do. The motion at the end of /tombstone turns off the chat notification for your emote. So if you don't want to disturb other people, you can add that to your macro. The next part is /echo, and in echo, basically what that does is that it repeats whatever you write in here into your chat, but only you can see it. I just have a bunch of lines, but you could put whatever you want here. The next line is /BGM. This will toggle the BGM. You can actually type this into chat and it will toggle the BGM for you, but in this case I'm making a button. So I've got this little music button, I've labeled it mute BGM, and whenever you click this button, it will flip back and forth on and off for the BGM. If you look at my mute Vox macro, I've labeled it mute Vox here. It's the same as before, same thing with the emote and echo, but this time the last command is /voice. This will toggle voice on and off. Finally, I have mute sound effects. This will mute the sound effects in the game as well as any ambient sound, like when you're in Alexandria and you hear like the metal clanking. You could turn that on and off as well. This macro is similar to the first two. /tombstone motion, which is for my emote, that's totally optional. Same thing with echo. Then sound effects, /sound effects, and then in the next line, /ambient sounds. Now the thing about this macro is that you have to make sure that these toggles are synced up to be the same in the menu. Otherwise there will be a mismatch and this macro won't work. Let's go ahead and demo these buttons real quick so you can see how these sound. Check it out. That's BGM, that's sound effect, and that's voice. So you could still hear the laughing, but if you mute it, now there's no sound from the character. So, and that covers anything like yells and the voices from the bosses and stuff like that. Alright, this next set of macros is actually for controlling the master volume, and it's actually three macros that I made for this. Let me go ahead and pull up the menu. So I have 10, 4, and 1. So right here on 10, I have it labeled volume 100. I have my emote and my echo lines, which those are optional, and then /master volume 100. The number at the end is the percentage volume you want. And I basically set it in the menu, but you're doing it with a toggle. And then you could create a separate macro and you can have it set to 40. And then the other macro, you can have it set to whatever you want as well. And what this will allow me to do is change the volume of the music in game, or not just the music, but all the sounds across the board, all the master sounds. And I can tune it to if I want it quieter or louder. This is helpful for if you want to play with sound, but you're also on Discord. And you could just flip it on the fly. Additionally, because Final Fantasy is a very loud game and it tends to be very loud in the mix on OBS, having these toggles is very helpful to turn down the game as well. Let me go ahead and demo these real quick. So right now we have it set. I have it set to 1, which is volume 15%. It still might be kind of loud in the mix because, again, Final Fantasy is a very loud game. Let's go ahead and set it to 40. And then 100. This next macro is for performance Anytime you're out and about, you'll probably see some people on Bard playing their instruments, and sometimes they sound great, sometimes they sound terrible. It really depends on like how good they are at playing and if there's like any lag or whatever tools they might be using. Having a toggle for this is really useful because personally I think it sounds atrocious. I don't know if it's just the game's engine, but for the macro, this one is going to be the same thing. You've got the optional tombstone motion, then /echo, which is also optional, and then /perform sounds. And what this will allow you to do is turn the instruments on and off for bards that are playing in perform mode. And I can go ahead and demo this real quick as well. So currently I've turned it on. Let me go ahead and go into perform mode. Oops, wrong button. And right now it's turned off. You can't hear anything. But if you toggle it again, and that's all there is to that one. Now we move over to the visual stuff. This is the stuff that affects graphics in the game. For this macro, this one changes the density of the particle effects for both yourself and other players, depending on how you want them. In this particular macro right here, I have it again, tombstone motion. For echo, however, I have it telling me what it's doing because it's not necessarily clear in the chat. So right here it shows battle effects set maximum, blinding. I don't recommend playing the game on maximum like this. It's really going to sear your eyeballs. It's a lot of flashiness. But right here you'll see that I've echoed as well, self all, party all, other all. And then under this is the BFX settings for each individual variable. So you have BFX self all, BFX party all, and BFX other all. This is going to turn every graphic up to maximum, and good luck, because it's going to be a huge spam of particle effects. For a more reasonable experience, I've also made a medium version of this, which you can see right here, echo, battle effects set medium, self all, party simple, other simple, and then BFX self all, BFX party simple, and BFX other simple. This is going to make it to where you still see some graphics and you see all of your own spells and abilities, but it's going to turn them down so that like you don't get completely overwhelmed by all the graphics in the game. I highly recommend this setting. But some days graphics are just too much to deal with, I think. And so for those days, I've also made a BFX minimum, which pretty much turns off everybody's effects except your own. And this one right here, you can see the same thing. It's battle effects set minimum, you only. So self all, party off, other off. This makes playing alliance raids a lot easier as well, because it gets very spammy when you have 24 players all using like their biggest spells, and so doing this becomes a real big help. Well, let's go into an instance and demo the battle effect settings toggles. Alright, let's go ahead and play with the effects toggles. So right now we have it turned on to maximum. As you can see, there are a lot of graphics going on right now. Kind of makes it hard to see what's going on over in that foot, right? We can set it to medium, and it'll turn down the graphics so it makes it to where you only see the really, the ones that you really only need to see. But if that's still too much, you can actually turn it to minimum, and you'll only see your own. Let me do that real quick. So now you can only see your own graphics and no one else's. This can make it really helpful when you're playing in like really large groups and you need to be able to see what's going on, and maybe the graphics are a bit overwhelming. This is the best setting, but personally I like it right in the middle so you see the most important stuff. Wait for this explosion. Takes forever. And now I have it set to medium, so I still see other players' graphics, but it's not the full thing. I only see what I need to see for the most part. And for the last set of macros, they're going to be for toggling the nameplates above people's heads, because whenever you're in a situation where, like, say for example there's a retainer bell or there's an NPC that gives a quest that everybody's trying to do at the same time, it can be kind of hard to see what you're doing. This also applies to hunts when you've got about 100 people trying to go on one enemy. The amount of text on the screen can be kind of overwhelming, and if you look kind of in the distance right here, this is kind of all these nameplates right here. So I also made another macro for this. So right here I have other PC names on, and the commands for this one are /nameplate disp other one, and then I put echo other PC nameplates on. That's so it tells me what I just did in chat. And then for the opposite, I have nameplate disp other 3, echo other PC nameplates off. Now this is really useful because check it out. You see all these nameplates right here? Bam, they're gone. They're no longer in my way. I don't see them. I'm no longer being impeded by other people's nameplates, which is kind of nice. But say I want to know where my friends are, you know, you see the orange text, I could turn it back on and I'll be able to see my friends when they come by. I can see other players' names. I can see who they are. And that one's really useful just in many situations, especially Bosja, hunts, Eureka, Alliance raids. I highly recommend it for that as well. Do definitely try that one out. And that's about gonna do it. So what do you think? Was that helpful? Was it not helpful? Let me know. Say it in the comments or message me or send me mail. I don't know, figure it out. But I've always wanted to make this video for a really long time. I feel like it would be really helpful to people who also have issues with stimulation overload, especially with games like Final Fantasy XIV and, you know, just all the visuals and the sound. And although those things can be really awesome at the right time, for an extended period of time, especially if you like to play this game every day, sometimes it's a good idea to be able to turn those things off. So that's why I made this video. I wanted to share my knowledge, and I hope that it helps someone else. Thanks.